This episode of Good Times, Great Movies is sponsored by Deborah M. And if you think the M stands for McCambridge, you'd be right. If you think Deborah is my wife, you'd be wrong. She hasn't listened to a single episode of this podcast. Deborah is my mom. That's right, folks. My mom not only listens to this podcast, but gives us money for it. I like to think of it as an allowance that I don't have to take out the garbage to receive. So thank you so much, Mom. I can tell you this face to face. You're not that far away. I could literally drive to your house. It's like 10 minutes away and tell you this. So maybe I'll do that. But anyway, everybody, my mother thinks I'm talented. If you would like to donate to this podcast and have a little intro where I talk about you, probably not being my mother, you can go to patreon.com/goodtimesgreatmovies. If you do not want to support us on a monthly basis and you want to do a one-time donation, you can donate to us on PayPal. Just reach out on Twitter or Facebook and I will give you the information needed to be able to do that. That's the other thing. We always forget to talk about contacting us during the episode. We get so caught up in what Witches of Eastwick we're talking about. But follow us on Facebook and find us on Twitter at GTGMcast. Okay, let's move on with the episode. A film starring three of Hollywood's biggest actresses at the height of their career that doesn't make a single attempt to pass the Bechdel test. Jamie?
Yes.
Let's go watch The Witches of Eastwick.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Good Times, Great Movies. It is here that we speak about movies that are from the 80s. We share our thoughts on them. We walk through them. It's a delight. Sometimes the walk is a delight. The movie, not so much. Other times the movie's a delight and our walk is stumbly because we're so excited. Tonight, what will we reveal? Or today, I don't know the time of day you're listening.
We don't know the day or the year. You can be listening 5 years from now.
Right?
You'll be like, it was so tragic that the two of them died so young. And,
Oh!
and we're predicting this right now. Now you're really creeped out when you're listening to this.
I totally. If you don't know who we are, it's Jamie Lorello and Doug McCambridge here to talk about these. I was going to say pathetic, but that's not the right word. Prosthetic.
No, you're thinking
That's
prosthetic.
a false leg. I mean, it could be. We could be the false leg of the 80s movies or the rubber arm of the 80s movies. But
the rubber arm? Is that what they give people? Just these floppy, Gumby arms? If you are a listener with a prosthetic appendage, we apologize. But I just imagined you, the listener, running down the street with an arm just flopping
just a
around.
Gumby arm. Just
hitting
a Gumby
other
arm.
people and yourself as you run down the street.
Because that's what you got. That's what you got to work with. All right, do we have any housekeeping or anything?
We have nothing to discuss because
no updates.
We got to get into
We got to get into this cauldron, if you will.
Was there any cauldrons in this movie?
No,
they did use
there
a big
wasn't
pot
enough.
At the end. There wasn't enough witchiness in this
That's
movie.
what I thought. There was not enough witchery. I expected a little more. There was like tangs of like, I don't know, like every now and then Michelle Pfeiffer would point out, did you see that? We all thought the same thing. Did you feel that? It's real windy out and we're all together. But
Did you hear that? We were at a speech. It was really boring. And we all thought, this is really boring. I wish it wasn't so boring. And then it rained.
Then it rained.
So crazy.
Crazy stuff.
They played tennis for 4 hours in the middle of this movie.
How about that intense tennis game? That's when the magic is sort of displayed.
The tennis game was in a movie where a lady like barfs up 18 pounds of cherry pits. The tennis game was the craziest part of this movie. Did you notice what they were wearing? Did you notice Susan Sarandon's slutty little tennis outfit?
Yes.
And that Cher was playing tennis in overalls and pigtails.
Cher, I'm not sure what Cher thought she was going to. Although she was riding her bike there, so I mean, I don't know if she thought she was going to do some light gardening.
Cher's hair should never be put in pigtails. That looked so unnatural.
I like how at one point, once they're all fully witched, they all have that curly hair. They all have the insane.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I didn't, like, Michelle Pfeiffer
even Michelle Pfeiffer gets some curls at the end.
Yeah, but she didn't have much of a physical transformation until she gets herpes for some reason near the end of the movie.
What was that on her face? Was it supposed to be herpes? Is that what it is?
When she answered the door and she's behind a screen, I'm like, is there something wrong with her? Or is the lighting just weird?
Was she eating a jelly sandwich before she answered? Because I know she's got a lot of kids, and
she has so many kids. How can she stay at his house that long? It appeared in the middle of this movie. They were at his house all the time. Who's taking care of those kids?
Well, they seem to take care of each other. And at first, I didn't. Okay, so I know they're trying to set us up at first because we see Cher seems like a single mother. And Cher's character is Alex, right?
Yes. First, let's talk about the director of this movie is George Miller, who directed every single Mad Max thing ever made. Like the most recent one and the original one, and everything in between. And he directed this and Babe, Pig in the City.
Wow. How did we go off the rails?
He is a prolific director. I don't know how this fits in with Babe, Pig in the City might make more sense than this movie. Although I've never seen it. So I might have to go check it out. I hope Babe, Pig in the City is just a movie about a pig eating cherries for an hour and a half. So let's get into our three witches, quote unquote.
Three ladies at first that are just kind of bitter. Yeah, that's what they are.
It's interesting. This was 1987. Cher is second billed in this movie behind Jack Nicholson. I mean, she does have a pretty big part, but that surprised me. Like Susan Sarandon and Michelle Pfeiffer they were box office. I don't know about gold, but you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't think that Cher...
Didn't she kind of have a little phase where all of a sudden people were like, what? Because she is good in it. I mean, I think...
It's weird to say that Michelle Pfeiffer was the worst one in this, but I thought that she and Susan Sarandon were much better, or they had better parts or something. Yeah. Like, Michelle Pfeiffer was kind of a boring character.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
What was her name? What was her character's name?
Suki?
Suki.
Her name's Suki, and all these people flip out about Jack Nicholson's character's foreign name. He sounds foreign. I think it's European. I don't know what it is. It's a crazy, crazy name.
That's true.
And I'm like, your name's
Daryl
Suki.
Von something. Exactly.
It's just like Van Horn. Like that's
first name Suki, mind you.
Yeah, Suki Ridgemont. It's not a good name.
Oh, she's a journalist though, writer for a local paper or something. Right?
I thought she was like an organic farmer at the beginning of this movie.
I thought they were all some sort of like homestead school teachers.
Yes,
like,
I thought
they were at the meeting.
There were just going to be these three hippy dippy ladies. Yeah. Like Cher isn't a sculptor, right?
Yeah.
And
of fertility gods or something.
Yeah. I love it when they're like, "Oh, somebody came in and bought all of them." I'm like, that's a weird thing to do. Like, you know.
Okay, so we have our three witches. We have our Alex, the Cher,
Alex the Potter, Cher,
Alex the Potter, Cher. Our breeder, I guess.
Michelle Pfeiffer has like 100 blonde.
Yeah,
kids.
she's got all these kids, and she
all
works
appear
for
to
the
be
paper.
The same age, too.
Yeah, they do.
It looks like she had triplets and maybe twins at some point.
Like she had a very busy 2-year span of her life.
Mm-hmm.
And she lives like on a farm. Like they all live in this small town, right? Oh, and then there's Susan Sarandon's character who is Jane, I believe her name is.
Her name is Jane.
Plays the cello, and I guess she's the music teacher for the school?
For the elementary school, I guess.
The elementary school orchestra?
Yeah, but that creepy pervert's like, I wish we could keep you on full time.
Yeah.
And then grabs her ass, and he's like,
yeah,
we can talk
awkward.
about it later. It's very strange.
Very awkward.
Yeah,
yes.
those are our main players, are the main ladies. Jamie, how many people who aren't white do you think were in this movie? Do you think it was over or under one half?
Oh boy, I did not see anybody other than
Nope,
not a one.
all.
I'm trying to think, was there what's his assistant? What background is that guy?
Oh, I don't know. Because he dressed like he was from India or China half the time.
Yeah. He was an odd character.
That guy is great. That guy, first of all, he was in Twin Peaks, but also he played Lurch in the Addams Family movies.
Excellent.
Yeah.
He's very lurchy. I could see that. Very lurchy.
He was always fun. Every time he popped up, I'm like, okay, well, at least this guy's in this scene. Maybe he might do something fun.
It's true. He was nice. It was a nice.
So these ladies live in this town.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small town. Apparently, everybody knows each other. And at one point, we see the sign for the town, and there's like 6,000 people that live in this town. But apparently, the whole town is there to listen to a speech. But there's like 100 people sitting there.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was about. I didn't know if it was a school ceremony, and that's when I thought in the beginning they were all school teachers. But then, it's the whole town, or it's a town speech about family values, right?
Right. I don't know what it was about, because he's like, this town was founded. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe it's a bicentennial. But he he doesn't say anything. He just talks.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's super boring. And this guy, he looks skeevy.
Creepy, yeah. He's got a creepball look about him.
His beard looks fake. I'm sure it was real, but it really does look like... It looks like one that would just hook around his ears.
When he takes it off.
Right.
I thought he was like a school principal. But again, if we look at it more like this is the town, I guess, he's the town mayor.
Because I didn't know what was going on, because she's practicing with an elementary school band.
Yeah.
Who I suppose is the only band in this town, since they're playing this important event.
Yeah, this important small town event, yeah.
But then she's playing the cello later with 5 other people in what appears to be some sort of orchestra.
Yeah.
They're sitting there, they're listening to him drone on, they're really bored, as is everyone, and it starts insanely storming.
Oh yeah, the clouds, the wind, it all starts to pick up, and
it's raining.
Here we have a storm on our hands. Yep.
Everybody runs, but he's still talking, which I thought was kind of fun.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Everybody's
he was like,
scattering.
Still got some stuff to say. It's just a storm. It's not like a light drizzle.
So now we get to know our characters, because I guess every Thursday, as they say, they hang out. They hang out and they play some cards and they
eat
drink.
Cheese Whiz. They have crackers.
And these ladies, you look at them, they're clearly eating a lot of Cheese Whiz and drinking a lot of martinis. At one point, I think... Susan Sarandon even said something like, oh, how many calories are in these? I'm like, you three are the skinniest people ever. I don't think that's what you guys have to worry about.
Yes, Cher's waist is so tiny in this. They all are. But they're having their girls' night, right?
And they kind of enjoy it. It's their only time that they kind of say that this is the only time that they enjoy, which is weird, because Cher's just Making art.
Yeah.
What's her name has 5 kids. I guess they're a bunch of shits, because she she never says a nice word about them in this movie. She doesn't say anything bad about them. She never even acknowledges that she has children.
No, she does. Well, because this is when we find out a little bit about their backgrounds.
Oh, yes.
So her husband left her with her 5 or 6 children.
Right.
Kind of knocked her up. She's very fertile. She lets everyone know that.
Oh, of course.
Susan Sarandon can't have children, right? I think that's her deal. She can't get pregnant, and she's also been... Oh, yeah, her divorce was just finalized just that day, right?
Yeah, she was celebrating her
Yes.
divorce. Because the creepy guy even says, like, hey, did your divorce come through? And she's like, all right, creepo. It sure did. And he's really excited.
Oh, yeah, that's right, when he's rubbing her tush. And Cher's husband died. We're meant to think that she had a good, maybe decent relationship with him, but he died.
Oh,
right?
I was going to say she may have had a role in that death.
Oh, maybe. That's true. That's true, because they did make up that doll and that whole bit.
Yeah. This is where the movie, in my opinion, goes off the rails, and we're literally 10 minutes into it. Because I assumed that this movie was going to be some feminist piece.
I thought so too. And quite the opposite.
All these ladies do is talk about men. I want a man. We need a man. What's he going to be like? And they describe their perfect man. They never go more than 5 seconds in this movie without talking about men when it's just them. It's insane that anyone who is a woman would enjoy this movie. And that sounds terrible because, I don't know, maybe you liked it, but it's at every turn, it seemed to be the most insulting thing ever. And even at the end, when I thought, maybe, even at the end, they're like, do you miss him? Yeah, I miss him. Yeah,
yes, I know.
I was like, what are you doing?
I know. And to have these three women together, like these three strong actresses, they were playing their roles well. There wasn't enough witchery for me, and there wasn't enough, I guess, for lack of a better, girl power for me in this movie that I expected. I had never seen it. I was excited to watch it because I was like, oh, yay, witches, woo! And there was a lot of evil Jack Nicholson. But
I don't know. I think that's just Jack Nicholson. Like, I imagine that if you were just to sit down and talk to Jack Nicholson, he'd be like the guy in this movie.
That's what he sounds like all the time.
All the time. He's screaming and yelling and stomping his feet.
And making exaggerated statements to
every line in this movie was either whispered or screamed. And there was no in between with his character. So these ladies describe their perfect man. And as they're describing this and there's a storm, we cut back and forth between their girls' night and a car driving into town.
Black car driving through town.
So this is where there's suddenly a concert, because Jane is playing a concert where, again, the entire town congregates to this concert. And during her performance, there is loud snoring / growling. He also growls in this movie.
He does. Yeah, there's the sound of a sleeping werewolf, I guess, is what.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, he was also in that movie Wolf with Michelle Pfeiffer, where he was a werewolf. Oh, yeah,
that's right. With Pfeiffer, that's true. Yeah. But yeah, so he's snoring in the back of this concert, drawing attention to himself. And he falls out of the chair.
He falls out of the chair and doesn't even immediately wake up. Like, he hits the ground and lays there for another 2 or 3 seconds and then wakes up.
And then gives an enthusiastic applause, right, to Susan Sarandon, walking right up to her.
If you like Jack Nicholson and have never seen this movie, you got to watch this movie immediately.
Oh, yeah, you'll enjoy it. It's just like having a big old cup of Jack.
Oh, he's just Nicholsoning it up at every turn.
Oh, yeah. He's, it's interesting. So this is obviously the new guy, werewolf in town, and nobody can remember his name, right? They're all talking about him, and they're like, what's his name?
And this is a weird time in the movie where I was like, are we supposed to think that he put a curse on everybody to not remember his name? Because it literally is everybody going, and I met him at the grocery store. He's such a nice man. He lives in this house. Oh, he was so flamboyant and amazing. He was super handsome. He seemed very charming and fun. What's his name? I don't know. I just remembered it. I just had it. What's his name? I don't know. I had
They
his
don't?
name. I thought I knew what it was. And every single person says this.
Yeah, it's the same line they all give. Like, I don't know. I'm really good with memory, but not for his name. Oh, my goodness. Now, who is... Okay, so there's another couple. Now, is he the mayor and his crazy wife? Who I really enjoyed her character,
She
though, I have
was
to tell you.
so much fun. If this movie was just she and Cher, I'd be all about it.
But who was she supposed to be? She's like the mayor. She's like a notable townswoman, right? Essentially, she's married
Her name is Felicia, but I don't like her husband runs the newspaper that
Right.
Michelle Pfeiffer works for.
Right.
And these people seem to carry some influence, but I didn't understand why she was a target of Jack Nicholson.
I think.
Or the girls or whoever.
Well, they didn't. I guess you're supposed to believe, like, obviously she had a very spiritual, sort of religious connection to the town, or like she sensed something was not right from when he came to town.
Right.
She was against, she sensed that he was kind of evil, and so then.
So you just make her the town preacher, right? Like that's what they should have done.
Yes.
But
yes,
instead
yes,
she's just this lady.
like the town nut. She becomes the town nut, right?
Very quickly.
Yeah. Her scene was like, oh man. She's got some good screams that she lets out.
Yeah, I enjoyed pretty much every time she was on screen because I was like, this is going to be fun.
Well, so he puts this evil, since he's got a target on her back, the first thing he does is she falls backwards.
Michelle Pfeiffer remembers his name.
Oh,
while
right.
her pearls, while she pulls her
That's right.
necklace off.
Oh my God.
For whatever reason. And a necklace has, what do you think? 40 beads, maybe? Hundreds of beads.
Just roll out. Yeah.
Cover the floor.
Mm-hmm. And these beads are dangerous. They will make you slip and fall, even though they're tiny little pearl beads from a necklace.
And that poor Felicia falls down the steps. And
Bye,
her
Felicia.
bone is sticking out of her leg. Did you see
Her
that?
whole torso is turned.
Oh.
Her torso is turned in this weird twist. And
Breaks her leg.
breaks the leg, yeah.
Smash cut to Cher on a bike.
Well, her legs are working just fine.
I think I can watch
didn't
Cher
break
ride
her
a bike
leg.
all day long.
She is very good, right?
Yes, so she rides a bike because, of course, she's curious about this crazy guy who clapped and started screaming and yelling and growled
Right.
During a
and
concert.
she finds out that he bought all of her booby dolls.
Oh,
right?
yes, she does. Yeah. Yes, and then she takes this bike ride and and meets Jack Nicholson, who is wearing rain boots and a smoking jacket.
Is it a smoking jacket? Is it a robe? I guess a robe and a smoking jacket
It is
are kind
super
of similar.
shiny, though.
It's very, very iridescent.
All of his outfits in this movie are insane. At one point, he's wearing a pink coat. No, like a pink robe
No,
over
like
a pink jacket.
Yeah. It's
Over a white shirt and billowy white pants.
Oh, he's got some fashion. Oh, what about when they go to lunch? Okay, so he invites her to lunch. How about the fake backdrop behind them of like the mansion and where they are? It looks so phony baloney. Like there's clearly
It looks crazy, and they're eating seafood, and we see almost like a metallic crab or lobster. Did you see that thing?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, is that what they just ate, or is that a decoration?
I think it's like a display because
I did
sure.
not know. But this is where we meet his butler, whatever this guy is.
Oh, yeah.
Lurch.
Oh, Harold? I don't remember his name.
Oh,
he calls
I don't
it by
know.
his name a few times.
Yeah. He says that he has a really big penis, and ladies are totally into him. Like,
Yeah, this
why?
movie gets more vulgar than you think it's going to get. Or
Very
at least,
quickly, too.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
And Cher is doing a great job. Like, all throughout these scenes, she's doing a great job because she is just laughing at Jack Nicholson's performance, I think. Because he's trying to seduce her and she is having none of it.
Right.
And it's really kind of funny.
Yeah, it's kind of what you wanted to see, is that she's the strong woman that can avoid all his lures and temptations. What about his ponytail? What about his terrible hair ponytail that he has in the back of his... What?
It's really bad because it's like a ponytail, but it doesn't grab all the hair, so it's like a ponytail, but then also like a mullet.
Yes, it's like a mullet tail. It's hard. It's hard to look at.
But she does tell him off until he kind of says that her life is garbage. He's what are you going to go back in her head.
Yeah.
Your shitty life? Because it's terrible.
Yeah.
But she does call him physically repulsive, which I enjoy.
Yeah, and smelly. She calls him smelly.
You're not even interesting enough to make me sick. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, she kind of rips him one. He's got a lot of big monologues, like where he... It's kind of like that speech in the beginning where, like you say, they talk for a long time, but he's not really saying anything.
Right.
Or he just is kind of saying the same thing over again. He gets her riled up by telling her just about the role of women
and that's another problem with this, is that's what works on these women for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
It's just him saying all these crazy vulgar things after he just talks about how great women are and how much better women are than men.
I guess that's because we're meant to think he's the devil. Right? He's just evil.
I didn't know if he was the devil or just like a witch. Just like a guy
like
witch.
A bad witch?
Well, supposedly... he's clearly not a good witch.
Now, the house, P.S., I don't know that it matters that we mention it. It's just part of the storyline. The house that he's bought and taken over is a house where witches were once burned, right? That's how the town tale goes. I think that's also one of the reasons why that crazy Felicia is
right. But anytime somebody says that to him once, and he's like, whatever, witches were burned here? That's crazy. Witches weren't burned. It was, and then he tells some story about how, I don't even know what he says. I don't even know. I couldn't tell you a single thing that Jack Nicholson says in this because he was just yelling and prancing around the whole time.
Or he's in ridiculous outfits and you're paying more attention to what the heck he's wearing. Or I would find myself looking at that ponytail
And the best is in the middle, and you can do this at home. It's a fun game, folks. Start to watch it whenever he's freaking out, because halfway through his scene, he is sweating. He's out of breath every single time. It's like he can't keep up. I don't know how many takes they did, but he is just done. Halfway through every scene, he's just out of breath. That's why he has to whisper and take it down so he can catch his breath so he can then scream till the end again.
He puts a lot into this character, into this... what's our character's name again?
Daryl Van Horn.
Daryl,
the
that's
most
right.
Foreign name ever.
Daryl is such a country name, isn't it? Like Larry, Daryl, and Daryl or whatever.
Yeah, it sounds very simple, let's say.
Yeah.
Daryl. I guess it's the Van Horn.
The Van, I think it's the Van part, yeah.
But that doesn't even make me think foreign. That makes me think wealthy, like Martha's Vineyard. Like we're going to have dinner at the Van Horns tonight.
Yes.
So after he, I guess, beds Cher. Oh, did you want to talk more about that?
No, I just wanted to get that out there.
We do meet Felicia again. We visit Felicia in the hospital.
Is this when her husband is feeding her mashed potatoes? Now her leg is broken, not her arms. But he's feeding her mashed potatoes. So that the more upset she gets, the more he's force feeding her, and now she's practically spitting mashed potatoes everywhere.
She is talking as he's mushing them against her mouth.
And first I was like, is he feeding her soup because she's sick? And then you see it's like a thick white consistency, like a mashed potato or oatmeal or something.
Yeah, I thought it was soup too, and then it's all brown. It's brown and white.
And it's weird that he's feeding her. She broke her legs, not her hands. She can feed herself her own soup.
Yeah, I think there's something wrong with this couple.
Oh, well, she's very paranoid, though, right? This is when and I like it. So she's paranoid about just that he's put something evil in her, and that the town is this. She knows something's up, but she's hyper crazy paranoid about it. And I like it when the husband questions the hospital, like, yeah, she's really kind of out of it. They say it's because she broke the bone marrow, and a bone marrow break will make you a little crazy for a little bit. She'll be all right. It's just when you break the marrow on your bone, your crazy triggers go off in your brain.
And also, Felicia, we don't meet her before she's crazy, so I have no idea this is how she's always been. Like, we need a very quick... This movie is 2 hours long, first of all.
Yeah, it's long.
You can't put a quick scene in at the beginning where he walks into, like, I don't know, a general store and looks at her and smiles and, like, his eyes turn red. There. Then she has a reason to flip her lid.
Right. We know she's been, like, yeah.
But this lady, the moment you meet her, she seems insane.
Yeah, and she's got no reason. Like, no other townsperson is leery of this man. They're like, he's friendly. He bought the house. Da, da, da. She's the only one that can't wrap her little head around it. Yeah. Now, Michelle Pfeiffer comes, right, with flowers to bring her, and she flips out at Michelle Pfeiffer, right?
She starts yelling and screaming.
She's just screaming at her. And Michelle Pfeiffer's like, well, okay. And she just kind of walks back out. Then we have Jane.
We go
back to Jane, our cello player. She practices that damn cello so hard, she cuts her little finger, right?
Oh, my God, yeah. And yes, and... in this movie, Susan Sarandon looks like the typical... She looks like she lives in Little House on the Prairie. Like, she has
hair pulled back,
big glasses. Her hair is so tight. And she's wearing skirts that go to the floor.
Yeah.
And everything's like a sweater with giant buttons on it. Buttoned up to her chin. Yes.
Yeah. But then she gets her one-on-one now with... I was going to call him Dwayne.
Dwayne The Rock Nicholson.
More exotic name.
Dwayne Van Horn. I kind of like that.
She gets her time with Daryl. And Daryl sort of brings out the passion in her, right? He plays a little violin for her. She's in love with the way he plays. And he tells her she's great, you know, she plays great, but she's not good with the bow, I think is his criticism, his critique. And then he kind of evokes the passion out of her and has her play again with passion. There
is the most brief moment of physical comedy with Susan Sarandon when she goes to pour him tea and she hits her head on the legs. And I don't know why that struck me so funny. Like, I never really pictured her as a great comedic actress. I guess I haven't seen her in that much.
She's got some good moments in the tennis scene too, when she's looking back and forth at
and the whole time she's talking to him, like when she's pouring the tea and it's spilling out over the cup and it's spilling out over the saucer. I enjoyed her character until she turned. But yeah, so they're playing, he's teaching her to play the bow, and the strings start smoking on the cello.
Fire happens, right?
Yeah, there's like super sexy time, and the cello bursts into flames.
Yeah, now the cello's on fire. All of a sudden the cello's on fire. Yeah, obviously she's been awakened, right? Oh, now we're back to seeing Alex go biking again, right? Isn't she bike again?
This is when she has pigtails, right?
Yeah. This is when her and Michelle Pfeiffer decide to go for another bike ride. Michelle Pfeiffer's the only one that hasn't met him yet or had her interactions with him yet. So Cher takes her, and when they get there, we see Susan Sarandon, Jane's character, is got big curly hair now, bright red or orangey colored hair, and she's in a sexy swimsuit, and she's just sort of enjoying the day on his land. And at first, Cher's character seems a little bit miffed by this.
Right.
But it doesn't take long because now they have their break the ice tennis match to get to. That's what makes it all okay, by the way. That's what makes them accept, I guess, the polygamy of the relationship.
I loved watching Jack Nicholson, Cher, and Susan Sarandon play tennis because I was thinking, I doubt these people have ever played tennis.
Played in real life.
Yeah. It seems so unnatural for them to have a racket, to be on a court. I mean, maybe Michelle Pfeiffer, maybe she has played a game of tennis in her life, but the rest, Jack Nicholson playing tennis is crazy.
What does he wear for this tennis match? What is he wearing?
Everything he wears is big and billowy. It's just like a big, and he wears like a fishing hat. It's like a big floppy
hat. Yeah, it's like a
hat
weird
that
floppy.
Like Dorf would wear. Like Dorf goes fishing. Like one of those, and then just like everything he wears is big and puffy. I know it's 87, but even his shorts are just big and huge and baggy.
Yeah, yeah.
Not good tennis gear.
Not good tennis material.
Again,
no.
The only one prepared to play tennis is Susan Sarandon in her tennis outfit. I mean, it is a tennis outfit.
That's true. It's true.
So when they're playing tennis, I don't know. It's just a montage of visual effects. Like, it's just the balls float. It's like stuck in the air for a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
They're hitting the ball back and forth. At one point, it stops in front of their faces.
Oh, Michelle Pfeiffer hits it with her butt at one point.
Everybody else is hitting it with like their elbows and doing goofy stuff.
I think they realize and this is where, again, I wish we had more of this magic. I guess this is when the women realize that they have some power. Because, again, earlier, Michelle Pfeiffer alludes to like, oh, maybe it's us and our thoughts that made the storm come. Oh, maybe us and our thoughts that got this handsome man to come to town. And now, when they play this tennis game, they actually have some sort of mind control over this ball. But it's kind of just played like goofy. It's not really
need a
like
scene where he sits him down and is like, "Listen, I'm a devil thing,
or you three have the power." Yeah,
you didn't have powers. I actually gave you these powers. Like you had the potential, but it didn't come out until I was like, I need somebody to explain what the hell is going on in this movie.
Yeah, I know. Because why else do
because they just seem to accept it. At one point, near the end of the movie, they're like, oh, let's get that big thing. He taught us how to make all these spells. I'm like, when the hell did he teach you that? I never saw that.
When they go to the book, they go to that one book. I'm like, why didn't we see this book earlier? Why wasn't this book referenced when they're making all that wax voodoo doll or whatever it is they make it out of?
Yeah, why are they making a wax voodoo? Why is any of this happening? And there's just so much time wasted floating in a pool and playing tennis where you could do this stuff. Because after they play tennis and it starts raining, of course, then they just get in the pool. And we're in the pool with them for 20 minutes.
Well, we're in the pool. It's interesting. So first they're all three in the pool, and then the two of them float away. And we just have Michelle Pfeiffer and Jack Nicholson in the pool, right? Obviously, we know what's happening next because he's seduce the other two, he's got to seduce this one.
I have a question about the next scene. Can we talk about the balloons? Because I don't know.
Is this the big balloon party?
What's happening? There are kids there. I guess they're her kids.
It's her kids
for a second, and then there's nobody there but she and him. Why are there all those balloons?
What about the fruit cart? What about how they're dancing with the fruit cart?
Oh my God, you're right.
And they just dance and they spin around and they eat fruit. I think this is supposed to be maybe when, since the three of them now have been seduced, they're officially all the witches.
Yeah.
But again, a pink balloon party? Like, we could have something way cooler, you know?
Right. It seems like, did you ever do... I'm just thinking about this now. Did you ever do that exercise like in high school where you're writing a story and like you write some of it and then pass it to the person next to you?
Yeah.
This seems like this. Like they're playing tennis. Now they're in the pool. There's a bunch of kids with balloons. Now it's just them. They're jumping on fruit carts. Like it is just nonsense for a real long time. Like this takes forever too.
It's like they did it for these couple of scenes, they played a game of Mad Libs. They just left out some parts of the script and had like, just, hey, you guys, give me a word, give me a noun, give me a thing, a balloon,
balloons?
Great,
what
I
color?
like it. Yeah.
Pink? Great. How many kids? 4. Wait, now they're gone? Okay.
Location, pool. No, tennis court. I'll take it. All right.
It's so crazy. And the whole time, too, they're having... quote unquote deep conversations, but their conversations sound like college freshmen that are really baked talking and thinking they're saying something, but nothing
but
I
nothing
don't know
real.
what they're talking about.
There could be so much more. But there's not.
Oh, there's so much potential here. And I feel like I was more disappointed when I read that this was close to the book because I was like, that book must suck.
Well, maybe the book explains more of the detail of what's happening. Like,
I hope so because, like we said, like there's good ideas here. There's potential.
right.
But it spirals into goofiness so quickly that then when it almost tries to be serious, I can't take it seriously.
Well, you don't know what to do. Well, after they get, I guess, whatever, once they graduate into balloon witchery,
Yep.
right? They have a moment where they're all floating, or Susan Sarandon's floating from a chandelier or something, and then they all fall in the water and get wet. So now they all have to dry off, and they're laying in that weird circle, right, in their bathrobes, having kind of like girl time. Oh, they're talking about the things that they are scared of dying from or something.
Right.
And this is weird. When he's videotaping them, he comes out with a video camera.
It's very weird. I mean, it gets weirder later when he's watching it.
Yeah, when he watches it,
yeah.
But he videotapes them. And again, you're like, what's... And again, with these women, like, why are they... Now they have these great powers, but they still just want to kind of be his bitches? What's...
Oh, that's what this is all about.
Are you the bitches of Eastwick or the witches of Eastwick?
Right.
Let's get real.
At the end of the movie, Jamie, all ladies want is a good man and babies. That's it. That's
all
you
and
need
babies,
to make you happy.
3 sons.
Babies,
yep.
hey.
And what a big house. It is nice that they have that giant house to kind of hang out in.
That is nice that they have that. I would have liked to have seen where he signs the house over and puts them in a will or something, because I don't know how that happened.
So we know that it's really theirs. Well, they have his sons. They are the bearer of his sons. We do get to see our crazy friend Felicia again, though.
Oh, yay.
Right?
She's in church now, right?
This is when she starts screaming whores at church.
Oh, I love Felicia. She's so much fun.
Every time she's on, I'm like, what's this crazy bitch gonna do? Now she's screaming about whores and dildos and anal sex, right?
And her poor husband is like, he's smiling, just like nodding, super uncomfortable, trying to lead her out, being like, oh, she just hasn't been well. Maybe we should go home.
She broke her marrow.
Yeah, right.
You know
she broke her leg. Goes. This is what happens when you break your leg. So now the ladies have changed. Jane is now teaching band in a crop top.
Oh yeah, and like a little tutu.
Yeah, and she's just free spiriting it in a weird way. This is good for her teaching because she tells them to throw the sheet music away, and they sound amazing.
They sound so much better than when they were first playing. Yeah. She seems to be confident in her new look, right?
Yeah, and we really only see the effect of Jane. Like, we don't, because now right after this is when she's shopping.
Right.
You know, and she is just...
She's strutting her stuff. Like, I feel like in the background, it's like Diamonds on the Soles of Her Shoes is playing or something in the background. She's just like, yay. She's feeling good.
Yeah, this is where we do not need a John Williams score. Half of this movie, I was like, I feel like I'm watching Home Alone. Every song sounded like a Home Alone song.
And maybe that, too. Maybe if they were going to keep the movie more goofy and light, if the soundtrack fitted a little more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt.
But no, even though she's feeling herself, feeling good about herself, I should say, at the grocery store, somebody does at the when she goes to the checkout, they call her a slut, right? Or there's an article about them being like sort of
there's
the
an
sluts
article
of the town,
about her being
right?
a slut in the paper,
right? There's some kind of headline, and everyone like looks at her, and they're like,
exactly. I was like, why are you putting that in the paper?
It's a small town. Word gets around. It becomes, well, we're meant to find out, though, it's because Sookie goes to her boss, and it's because the boss is married to the crazy Felicia. Right. Felicia made him release that information.
Exactly.
Made him
she must have pressured him into writing this article.
Right. Which now these 3 women become very angry at Felicia.
Right.
For making this rumor happen about them.
Now, I do have to say, I just want to back up real quick. When she's in the store, after she gets the paper and everything, and some lady like calls her a slut or whatever, she walks away, and all you hear is dumped in so loud is a woman's voice going, "She's not even wearing a bra." The end of the scene. That's it, and it's loud and it sounds really strange. But yeah, so we're meant to believe that Felicia pressured her husband to write this article about the three of them going up there.
Guess.
I don't. Yeah. I mean, we don't get a chance to read the article in the movie, so we don't know what it's about.
We don't know. Right.
But yes, the ladies are mad at Felicia. Jack Nicholson, I guess, has been mad at her, cursing her the whole time, I guess. But now it all comes to a head.
Now does it? So this is when they go back.
Did you see that bowl of cherries that they're eating from? Did you see
It's so huge. It's so many cherries. There's only 4 of them. You can't eat that many cherries. Did you see the zebra float that he's floating on in the pool?
Of course I did. It's Jack Nicholson on a zebra floating in a pool with an 80-pound bowl of cherries on his giant belly.
Oh my goodness. This is again when he sort of evokes them with power, I guess. Although, wait, we have to talk about Felicia when she starts to freak out, and she's grabbing her crotch and like grinding in the air and talking about how just how the evils is going to come and the sex is going to happen. And
it's great because the whole time her husband's sitting on a chair with his back to her, just kind of going, whatever, you crazy bitch. All right.
But she does this whole like weird dance. She grabs her crotch and then she's also, so they have a power now. When they eat the cherries, the cherry pits she starts choking on them, right, Felicia?
After she grabs her crotch and runs around, she growls at her husband. Do you remember when he was like, with the fire poker? She runs over to him and is like, rah, rah.
I love Felicia. She's my favorite. Oh, and then she dry heaves and gags for like...
this is so gross. I was grossed out. Like, I can watch movies where people's arms and limbs get chopped off.
With the gagging, yeah.
There's so much barfing in this movie. It's disgusting.
And it's chunky barfs, too, because it's cherry pits.
Yeah, because at first she's just, like, gagging, and, like, one cherry pit will come out. One time a stem comes out.
But she's gagging and like heaving all over their like living room. She's like, like all over their living room.
And she finally, it's like projectile vomits. Hundreds of cherry pits, and her husband goes, "What did you eat?" And she does it again, too. It's not like it just happens once. It happens 2 or 3 times.
When then finally he has enough, though, right? He has
enough. What is happening? Is he cursed? Has he just had enough of this crazy woman?
I think he's just been pushed to the limit by Felicia's crazy antics. So he kills her. He kills her. With a poker from the fireplace, right?
Yes. This is the part of the movie where I'm kind of laughing but also grossed out from her throwing up, and then her husband beats her to death with a fire poker, and I'm like, am I supposed to feel sad? What am I supposed to feel right now? Because they just ate cherries. The witches didn't eat the pits, but somehow the pits got inside this woman, and I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. I don't know how to feel about it. It's very confusing, bunch of emotions.
And then you're sad because Felicia's gonna be gone. Because Felicia's gone. That's how my takeaway.
Just forget the rest of this movie. It doesn't matter. Jack Nicholson later turns into a giant. Who cares? Felicia's not there.
Oh,
whatever.
How crazy is that? In the backyard.
So
Oh.
around this time, Suki's kind of like the voice of reason. Like she's the last one to get involved in this, and she's the first one to be like, maybe this isn't a great idea. Maybe we made this crazy woman's husband kill her or something.
It's our words, it's our thoughts. Yeah, she
Right.
keeps trying to convince them that maybe it's something they did, right?
Yes. And she doesn't, again, in a movie that is this long, there's no build up to them now turning against Jack Nicholson. Literally,
Right.
Suki's like, I don't think this is great. Susan Sarandon's like, come on, he's awesome. The ground breaks because they're all having thoughts.
Because they're having words with each
and
other.
then
Yeah, they disagree.
immediately, they all ignore him. Like, immediately. That's it.
Well, and they just decide that this is, it's not going to work out because people have died.
Right.
And, I don't know, maybe he's kind of brainwashing them. So they decide but he makes it seem like they haven't talked to him for
Oh, yeah, I thought it was later on that day. Because he calls Cher when she's in bed, and she's like, I don't, I'll talk to you later, bye. And he seems in a rage.
Oh, he gets so pissed. He's just screaming, Alexandra!
Oh, this is also, after yelling at Alex, this is when he visits Suki, who now has herpes. She won't let him in.
Oh, yeah. And she's very apologetic about it, though. I'm so sorry. We can't do this.
She's super nice. Her face is really gross.
Yeah, she looks like I thought she got hit in the face. And it's pouring rain, and he's on her porch, but he's still getting soaking wet. And she won't invite him in even for the rain. She's like, no.
No. And Jane's not at home either.
No, but he leaves a bloody D on her door, doesn't he? Yeah.
That's pretty.
No way to leave a message.
Yeah. Ladies, little tip out there. If a guy writes his initial in blood on sheet music and
Don't
then
call him back.
mushes it against your front door, don't call him back. But Jane is the one that goes to visit him because Jane finds out some pretty big news when she goes to the doctor.
Oh, yeah. Jane goes to the doctor and finds out she's pregos.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like several times, You're sure? You're not kidding? Because that's not been a strong suit for her. She can't really get pregnant, right?
She's the opposite of Suki.
When she goes to him now, this is when he's watching their video on like 12 different TVs in front of him, right? So creepy.
Yeah, the video he shot of them laying around talking, he's watching it on a bunch of TVs.
And he's eating some kind of like roasted pepper or something.
Yeah.
Like, what is he eating?
It's like he's at a party in less than zero, just watching a bunch of TVs. But he's sitting there and he doesn't see her come in.
No. Oh, that's right.
And I guess he's starting to get really angry watching this, which makes her turn old. What the hell is happening?
He's watching this, and again, they're talking about, I think it's their biggest fears in this video.
Yes.
And her biggest fear is time moving too fast and her aging. Cher's biggest fear is snakes, waking up with snakes. And Michelle Pfeiffer's biggest fear is pain.
Herpes?
No, because then she gets like terrible stomach pains that she's hospitalized for and sweats a lot because of.
Yeah. I mean, Susan Sarandon's fear was well thought out by the writers. It was well thought out by the writers of this movie. And then they're like, I don't know, snakes and stomach pain.
Yeah, exactly.
We gotta go to lunch. But she's able to get out, and I guess because she turned old for a minute, she realizes that he's like a spooky, creepy monster man now.
This is what finally kicks it for her. This is the final that makes her think, okay, this is not right.
And Alex, at this time, wakes up in a ton. Her bed has snakes.
Her hair has snakes in it. They're coming out of her hair.
Her entire room it's not just the bed. They're on the floor. There's just snakes everywhere.
She runs out, but Susan Sarandon is there to kind of find her and be like, all right, I know what we got to do. We're going to be okay. Let's go get the Sooks. And Suki is like doubled over in pain and has to be hospitalized.
She's also being thrown around the house by an invisible force too, because she'll be and then she flies back against the wall.
See, that's why I thought that herpes was that she got beat up, but I guess not.
It just looked weird. It
does look weird.
All right, but anyway, she goes to the hospital. Her girlfriends go out there to see how she is. And they all reveal that they are pregnant.
Oh, yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, at some point, Cher, I think it's when they're taking care of Suki in pain. Cher is comforting Suki and is like, don't worry, I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to make it all, I'm going to figure this out, make it all better. So she goes to Jack Nicholson's house, and he's ironing and watching The Price is Right.
What the hell is he doing? He has 300 TVs in that room. He's got like one of those little portable television sets, and he has it on the steps, and he's just ironing.
Yeah, with a vigor. He's ironing very
well, he also says he has to iron because they don't have any Chinese in this town.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
The one and only time this movie gets kind of insanely racist, and it just drops it.
Then he throws a stellar tantrum for her, right? When she's insisting that they're not going to see him, right?
Oh, it is
and you have to help Suki, and he throws a tantrum like ridiculous.
It's like if he yelled, "You can't handle the truth" 300 times in a row. And this is when he's stomping his feet.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
It's very exaggerated, yes.
But this is where, and I don't know if we were meant to know that she had a plan, or if we were meant to think that she was now under his spell again. But she caves and has sex with him, which then Suki immediately gets better.
That's right.
Like, we then flash back to the hospital, and she's like, I'm all great now.
Yeah, all better. Not a pain left. Yeah. The sweating stops, right? And
they, of course, hatch a scheme to pretend that they love him so much.
Yeah, they're gonna.
And he totally falls for it.
Yeah, they dress themselves in lingerie. They're happy to be back together with him, and then they send him, after romping around, they send him off to get bagels and breakfast for them, right?
Yes.
Which is the perfect opportunity, with him being gone, for them to make their candle voodoo doll. Right?
Yeah, this is the part of the movie that should just be called Jack Nicholson Goes Shopping for Food. He's getting ice cream and bagels.
That's right, it's ice cream and bagels.
Yeah, ice cream and bagels. The breakfast of champions.
Well, I like when he goes to the one store and they don't have ice cream. So then he has to go to, like, the ice cream store to get ice cream, and he gets like those big barrels like that they keep the ice cream in at the stores.
Again, weird wasted time in this movie. Why does he go to two different stores? Just have the ice cream at the same store. You film it all in one location. We don't have to keep wasting time.
But then when he's in the ice cream store is when they start to mess with the doll, right? So his arm, he starts to get some severe pains, and
so when he leaves, this is when they melt a bunch of candles and make like a wax effigy of him and start, they're like, oh, he taught us how to do this. And like you said, this is when they find a book that we've never seen before. Yeah. And so while he's out, they start doing stuff to this voodoo doll, like jabbing needles in it. And he is again just flipping out.
He goes full Jack. He goes full crazy Jack. He takes a scoop, I think a hand scoop of the ice cream.
He shoves his arm through the glass and into a giant bucket of ice cream. And I love how the guy working there is like, hey, you okay? Should I call do I need to call anybody? You all right, man?
Are you okay? He's like, it's just ice cream. It's not that big a deal. But the girls, and then they besides the candle.
Right, they're not done, right?
They have the feathers, right? That they now start blowing around too. Which I guess they get the feathers from a pillow or something.
I don't know, because he's coughing out feathers in the middle of the street.
Oh, yeah,
and then it gets really windy and feathers are blowing all over.
Oh, no, now he goes to the church, Before he goes home to them, he goes to the church. He
goes to the church, where he then barfs all over the place.
Oh, yeah, he does the cherry barfing.
Right. He literally pukes on a family. These little kids are sitting there, and he turns and throws up all over them.
Oh, that's right in their lap, right? Doesn't he go right into their lap?
And he's just, because he'll throw up, and then he talks, and there's goo all over his face. It is really disgusting. At one point, he takes.
But he goes, "This is another time when he talks and goes on, and you just lose what he's saying because he's so Nicholson about it.
Yeah.
I guess he's so."
At one point, he takes like a guy's little handkerchief out of his pocket and like wipes the gross
and
stuff
then
off
gives it back to the
and then
dude,
gives it back to him, and then starts talking and throws up again.
Oh.
It's so. I didn't know there'd be this much weird vomit in this movie.
You didn't mentally prepare for it.
No, because it's all soupy and I don't know. That really bothered me.
It's gross. I gotta tell you, the vomiting is gross in this. And I think because it's chunky, too.
He's not even back to them yet, because now is when he gets in the car. He drives.
Oh, and they do more shit to him.
The dog
right?
steals the voodoo doll.
Oh, yeah, and starts shaking it around.
And
That's right. And
then
he
flies out the windshield of the car.
Mm-hmm. He gets roughed up quite a bit. But he's still on his way home. Yeah. They clean up. They go crazy cleaning up and making sure it looks like they're just hanging out, reading books, and Cher's eating a banana. And that's what they're doing.
In case it didn't work, let's clean up and act natural. Cher, here's a banana.
Like, he didn't just get the voodoo crap kicked out of him while he was in town. No. Well, he comes in, and he is literally a holy terror, right?
Oh, yeah. He's really... And he chases them around. Like, literally...
He's huge.
Runs, there's a chase scene. There's a foot chase through this giant house. Oh, my God.
The doll breaks, right?
The doll breaks.
The doll get broken.
Which I thought would kill him.
Kill him, yeah. You would think he would shatter as well.
It doesn't.
No.
He throws Susan Sarandon, like... Does he throw her off the balcony, or does she fall off the balcony?
I think she...
And then they just start laughing, and laughter saves them. Like, laughter
that's what they tell her.
Down.
Laugh.
Yes.
You have to laugh.
Even if
Jeannie,
it's a
laugh.
fake laugh and you don't mean it, make those sounds, because apparently that'll save your life.
It makes you able to levitate, I guess. Giggling
Again,
makes you...
Stuff we were not told earlier.
Not privy to.
No.
Not privy to. And how do they know these? I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe they read the book really fast.
I don't...
Well, they finally get the doll... into the fire, right?
Yeah, something happens.
And we think he's going to disappear, but then he's outside. This is when he turns into that weird caterpillar thing, right?
I thought he was like
really
a
goes
giant
away.
or something. Like, it's bad visual effects. It
terrible.
doesn't even look like Jack Nicholson.
No.
It just looks like a
weird
big mound of clay with ears. And it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest way to end this movie.
Yeah,
and to
kill him.
Right,
yeah, I agree.
Yes.
I agree. It was a bad way to kill him. And then we get a little 18 months later.
Right.
We got 3 baby boys in a bathtub. One has red hair, one has brown hair, one has blonde hair. We know whose kids they are. They live in his house. They think of him often, or they all do think of him. Right?
Oh, yeah. Do you miss him? Yeah, I kind of miss him. Do you wish he was here? Sometimes I wish he was here. This guy was like, he killed people and brainwashed you. Like, this is really strange.
I agree.
Like, this is, spousal abuse. Like, this is
this is like the victims
just
needing more. They're still always the victim.
Oh, it's so upsetting, and it's so weird.
I know.
But I love how that weird, creepy, tall guy is still living with them. He's like their nanny now.
Oh yeah, that's right. They've made him part of the home. That's right. The weird butler dude or whatever. Yeah. And then the last scene, right, is where we end super cheesy, where he is now on. They still keep the TV room with the 11, 12 TV screens.
Well, you don't give a room like that off. That's kind of cool.
I guess not. And Jack Nicholson's now on there kind of luring the babies to him. And the babies come to him, and he's like, all right, follow me. And then the women walk in and shut off the TV with a giant remote. I know it's the 80s, but that remote was huge.
That was a huge... Well, it has to power all those TVs.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
But it is the most strange, anticlimactic ending.
And then it's over.
Because I was ready. When they turned off the TVs and it cut to black, I didn't think we were going to go back to a new scene, but I was ready for one clever one-liner, whether it was him or one of them or
right.
No, roll credits.
Or Felicia.
That is how it ended. Felicia.
And that's the end.
That's the end of this movie, and it's so crazy that's how this movie ends. And why was it so long? Like
2 hours.
I couldn't imagine. I couldn't believe it when I saw it was 2 hours. I was like, oh, okay. Well, this must be something. Sure. And about halfway through, I was like, holy shit! I have to sit through
it's
that
just a
much
lot of
again.
shouting and these long monologues that kind of, I guess, if you really read it or listened to it, like there's a lot that's said about the female and the male dynamic, but it's the way it's presented. He's always shouting it, like you said, or just Nicholsoning it.
You're right. I could see if it was written in a book and you were reading it.
Yes.
Maybe it would mean something, but you're so focused on him spitting and flailing around while he says all this stuff. He could be saying anything and it wouldn't matter.
And maybe reading about cherry vomit is very different than watching all the cherry vomit happen. I'm just thinking maybe that
it reminded me of, do you remember for a while in Saturday Night Live, they used to have these sketches where people would go, and they'd put their hand up and there'd be like a hose under their wrist. That would spray out. Yeah. Every time she was throwing up, I was like, that's just a hose, because it was going across the room.
I know. She did do some great projectiles. My favorite was her crotch dance. I think that was my favorite.
Yeah, her crotch dance and when he was feeding her. I really enjoyed both of those scenes so much.
And when she screams horse in the church.
Horse and dildos. Again, make her the pastor. That would be great if she was giving a sermon and just started yelling that. So much better.
Yeah, and then a town where there was like a female heavy influence, female pastors, female witches, and then this dude comes in. Give us a little more of that.
Every moment, this movie has its like boot on the necks of women. This movie is so. It was just kind of sad to watch.
Yeah.
And it was sad to watch these great female actors in this movie, like reading this and I guess agreeing to do this based on the script.
That's the thing. They seem to. I thought maybe they were sold on a different version of it, or because again, when I. So I guess your final thoughts.
My final thoughts is this might be one of the worst movies I've seen in a long time.
The worst
on this.
Wow.
And I know we say that a lot, but like. I know how you feel when you watch Chopping Mall. When I was watching this movie, I was like, I guess this is how Jamie feels during Chopping Mall. The whole thing just felt unpleasant to me. Yeah. So, what about, is that your opinion?
Mine isn't quite as severe. It wasn't the worst. I mean, I enjoyed seeing Cher, and I enjoyed the character, I enjoyed the actresses, I guess.
Right.
I don't particularly care for Michelle Pfeiffer. I just never have. Not that she's not a good actress. She's just not a fave of mine.
She was kind of the least interesting character in this movie, which is weird, but yeah.
Well, the most interesting is, I think, hands down, Felicia. but yeah, I didn't love it, and I feel like there's other which I was excited to watch it because I like there was other witchy movies, like even the cheesy Hocus Pocus, and then the movie The Craft. I mean, they're 90s, but I thought it was going to be a witch movie. The Witches with Angelica Houston? That scared me when I was younger. That was a terrifying movie. But that is not what this presented at all. And it wasn't even enough of a goofy, till death becomes her kind of cheesy, funny. It didn't even have that kind of a feel. So, I mean, I didn't hate it like you did. It could have easily been Death Becomes Her. Yeah, but it didn't. No. It didn't really. And there was only one victim, which is weird, but I'm not saying they need to kill more people, but other than Felicia, no one in this town seemed to be affected by this guy showing up. Or cared, no. I know. All right. Well, did this movie, do you have a recommendation? Well, I wanted to know if your recommendation was what I think it is. I mean, if you stay on the mode of witches. No, it wasn't. I didn't go witch movie. Did you go witch movie? Okay. I did go witch movie. I did. It's a 2006 The Love Witch with Samantha Robinson. She's like a modern day witch that puts this kind of love spell on men that she meets. It's really kind of kitschy the way it's done. It's a 2016. It's a recent movie, but it's done in like a 60s, late 60s, early 70s kind of style.
Right. Okay. I've seen. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen it on like Amazon Prime or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's
that's where you're going to see it. Is it recommended for you?
It's always telling me to watch it, but I don't know.
You know what? You should. I know.
I should watch it then.
Yeah, it seems like something that maybe would. Yeah, but I think you'll like it.
I get burned all the time with Netflix and Amazon telling me to
You're
watch
like,
stuff.
don't suggest that
Right.
to me.
Well, then I'll watch stuff and I'll be like, why? I don't like this. It's bad. Like, I'll watch 10 movies and 9 of them I don't understand why it's telling me. And then the 10th will be amazing and I'm so glad I watched it. So I just never know what to do.
You never know.
Right.
Well, maybe I can help out. I can help the odds on that.
My recommendation is, because this movie starred 3 women, my recommendation is the Robert Altman movie, 3 Women. Starring Sissy Spacek and Shelley Duvall.
Excellent.
It's an old movie from the 70s.
Yes, 70s.
But unlike this movie, the main motivation is not a man at all. It's about these 2, even though it's called 3 Women, it's about these 2 female characters. And I don't want to say it's like single white female because I kind of give stuff away, but it's like...
But there is a little bit.
Yeah, it's like this sort of hero worship that kind of devolves into weird obsession, but it's a really great movie.
They're wonderful in it, too. Those 2 actresses are phenomenal.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is my recommendation. I don't think that's what I was hoping for, but by the end of this, I was like, oh, I wish I had just watched 3 Women again. All right.
Oh.
So in 2 weeks, Jamie.
Yeah,
in 2 weeks. Right. First of all, in 2 weeks, I got to work on an impression because it's Sean Connery's birthday.
Oh, Sean Connery.
And I'm sure if I really tried, I could do a Sean... I can't even do the S's.
I think you can.
The S's. Yeah. The greatest James Bond ever. No, this is not good. This is not good. But I will work on it for next week. Because are we going to do his triumphant return to James Bond in Never Say Never Again? No. Are we going to do the film that he won an Academy Award for, The Untouchables? No. Are we going to do the movie where he plays a time-traveling swordsman, Highlander?
That's excellent.
We're going to do Highlander. This is as good as it's going to get with the impression as well.
I feel like somebody put a bar of soap in Sean Connery's mouth for cursing.
I don't feel good about this. I don't feel good about this.
You'll get there. You're going to watch Highlander and you'll get there. I feel good about it. Oh, man.
All right. Yes, we're going to watch Highlander.
Excellent.
Which is a movie about him. Like I said, I think he's like a time-traveling swordsman, and I think he's Spanish, which is very strange.
Not quite Zorro the Gay Blade, though, right?
Oh, well, nobody is Zorro the Gay Blade. All right, I got to work on that Sean Connery impression before next week. No,
I expect
2
big
weeks
things.
from now.
2 weeks. You've got 2 weeks to hone the craft.
So, 2 weeks from now, that's the movie we're going to cover. Watch Highlander.
Check it out.
There's a chance there's no women in this movie. I don't know.
Oh, right? Is there any? I don't know.
Well, I think they made 3 or 4 of them, so I'm sure it's going to be great.
It's epic. I like it.
It's going to justify 2 or 3 more movies. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks as I polish my Sean Connery impression so it doesn't sound so stilted and painful. Yeah. All right. We will talk to you then.
That's when. Bye.
That's when.